Vigo. In the room of a small boy, there was a world made of toys. The kingdom was ruled by a man named Vigo. Vigo was a powerful toy, and his kindness was like snow blanketing the kingdom. He was different than other toys. Vigo's power was a divine gift from God. He was very devoted and read the scripture daily. God gifted him Brio, who was a guardian angel of the poor. Brio protected him and gave him tactical advice. Vigo's most obvious asset was his strength. Vigo's kingdom was prosperous, and the toys worked in harmony like a well-oiled machine. The treasure vault of the castle was full and guarded. The armory was stocked and protected. Vigo's king, Mari, was wise and compassionate. The marriage was arranged to build peace with the neighboring kingdom, but their love bloomed all the same. But in contrast to Vigo's fruitful kingdom, there was a dark place. In the deep depths beneath the bed, there was a kingdom of broken toys. The toys that inhabited this place were unwanted, defiled, and mad. Most were put back together with the pieces of other toys. The beast that dictated their lives was named Feroz. Feroz was selfish, as his concerns rested on his own well-being. He lied, cheated, and stole his way to the throne. He was different from his minions. Feroz was unbroken. He was merely unwanted, as his face reflected evil. Feroz destroyed other toys to build up his army. His throne was adorned with the limbs of his victims, and he used this to frighten his followers. His queen, Wahano, suffered at his hands as well. Feroz removed her arm and part of her leg to ensure she'd never leave and to prove his power. One day, Vigo's faithful messengers, Gabriel and the Magi, arrived. As they came with bad news for the king. As they met with the king, the air thickened with dread. Feroz was planning an attack on Vigo's kingdom, with the intent of overthrowing the unbroken toys. Vigo was vexed and aggravated. He knew he had to defend his kingdom, but he did not wish for bloodshed. He told his men he would think on it, and then he consulted with his queen. Mari advised him to go to the Temple de Dios, and there he would pray to see what God wanted him to do. He set off, with Gabriel and the Magi on his quest. The temple had been hidden for centuries. The group traveled for what seemed like days. They searched the Great White Mountain, but it was not there. They climbed to the highest point in the kingdom, but it was not there. They looked through the flatlands of La Cocina, but it was not there. They ventured over the jagged cliffs of La Caligula, but it was not there. Gabriel and the Magi were ready to give up hope, but Vigo would not stand for it. Although tired and weary, he urged them to carry on, and at last they arrived at the Temple de Dios. Vigo and his men were filled with triumph. They entered the temple and approached the shrine. Vigo vigorously prayed to God. He asked for guidance in the upcoming war. As Vigo prayed, the atmosphere in the temple changed. Gabriel and the Magi watched in awe as an angel descended. Vigo looked up at the approaching angel. Once she reached the shrine, she spoke. "My name is Beyiza. I've been sent with a gift from God." Upon saying this, she handed Vigo the gift. "These are the Baterias Magnificas, a sacred gift," said Beyiza. "How do they work?" Vigo asked. "They're the most powerful energy source in the universe, but their power comes with a price. Although they are potent, they burn out quickly. If the batteries die while inside you, you will die as well, and nothing will be able to repair you." "Thank you," said Vigo. "I will do whatever it takes to protect my kingdom." And with that, Vigo and his men left the temple. Vigo returned home swiftly. He told Mari of his glorious gift from God. Although she worried for her husband's safety, she told him she understood. He had to do whatever it took to protect their home. With Mari's encouragement, the kingdom began to prepare for battle. On the countryside, men heard of the impending battle. Men moved rakes, leaped from barns, and jumped at the chance to help their king. Where's the flag? One by one they assembled, ready to be on the front lines. Near the sea lived the Dino Rangers. Upon hearing of the battle, that's the same one. They mounted their prehistoric steeds and headed to the field with their entourage. Next up was the Potato Head clan. Although they were not fearsome, their teamwork was known throughout the land. After a long day of play, the clan was spread for toy miles. One by one, the Potato Heads began to pull themselves together. The smallest member of the clan stood up and began to reconstruct instruct his kinsmen. Once all the younger potato heads were assembled, they came together and then collected the largest of the clan members' pieces. But it was a difficult task, and they accomplished it together. Finally, with lots of teamwork, the clan was ready. In the eastern hemisphere of the kingdom, there lived a large group of men. They were all army-trained and battle-ready. Hearing of the battle, these men climbed out of their home and jumped into formation, ready for anything. The last group to assemble was the smallest. Although small, they were very fierce. They were known as Dos Ninjas. They appeared descended from their home in the mountains, ready to defend their kingdom. Meanwhile, Vigo was preparing at the castle. He rid himself of his royal robes and donned his regal armor. Vigo then decided it was time to insert the Baterias Magnificas. Mari offered to help him with the task. She carefully unscrewed his power cord and the batteries popped perfectly into place. Vigo's power cord was then closed. Mari knew it was now time to say farewell to her husband. She gave him a pennant from her homeland. She had one as well, and said that she wanted to be connected to him while he was away at war. They bid each other farewell, and Vigo set off for the warfield. The warfield was located in the center of the kingdom. Once Vigo arrived, his men got into formation. Vigo saw that his foes had gathered, but Feroz was nowhere to be seen. All of a sudden, there was a commotion erupting in the opposing formation. Feroz emerged from the middle of his army. He was riding Morocco, the most fierce, frightful creatures in all the land. Once Feroz and his steed approached the front line, Morocco let out a ferocious growl. And with that, the battle began. Both armies ran at each other, pairing off to fight. Some opponents were so large they required multiple attackers. They kicked and pushed and stabbed. They grappled with each other, defending their kings. While the armies attacked each other, Vigo and Feroz approached. Vigo spoke first. Feroz, must we fight this way? Look around. We are only causing pain to our people. If you end this, you and your hurt toys can find refuge in my kingdom. Feroz laughed in outrage. I've planned this for many years. You and your perfect toys have been reigning for far too long. Before Vigo had a chance to react to these words, Feroz punched him in the face. Vigo immediately began fighting back. He grabbed Feroz around the waist and threw him to the ground. Vigo bent down to restrain Feroz, but Feroz was too fast. He pulled a knife out of his pocket. He lunged at Vigo and managed to stab him in the arm. Vigo fell to the ground. Feroz lunged at him again. Although Vigo was injured, he fought back. He kicked Feroz and knocked the knife out of his hands. He quickly restrained Feroz. Finally, the battle had ended. Everyone in Vigo's army began to cheer, while Feroz's army retreated to their home under the bed. Vigo's kingdom gathered around him and rejoiced. Vigo looked at them all, proud of their triumph. His pride was the last thing he felt before he died. Gabriel saw his king had fell, and rushed to his side. He didn't understand why his king was dead. All of a sudden, the Baterias Magnificas popped out of his power cord, and Gabriel understood. Vigo had sacrificed himself to capture Feroz and save his kingdom. Suddenly, a small gold being appeared. It was Brio. This was the first time that anyone but Vigo had seen him. I am Vigo's guardian angel. I have been with him for many years. I know you had a valiant king. Do not mourn. He died doing what he loved most, protecting his kingdom. With those words, Brio took Vigo's soul to heaven. The funeral for King Vigo was small, but meaningful. His closest friends, crib midgets, and followers were in attendance. They all came to remember what a great king he had been. Mari chose not to join her friends, but to stay beside her husband's casket to mourn. As Vigo's closest friend Gabriel preached the funeral, he told of tales of Vigo's heroic deeds. Shortly after the sermon, Vigo was buried with many of his treasures. It was a sad day for all the kingdom. Many years later, Vigo is remembered with much fondness. No one has forgotten what he did for his kingdom, and to this day, Feroz and his queen remained in prison to show the king his greatest feat.